So the most significant part of Rock on Cleveland, episode 3, that aired on August 30th, 1995, in celebration of the big opening of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the huge concert. This one focused upon the media descending upon Cleveland for the celebration and the show. Most significantly at the end, up and coming, just having cracked the charts, Bones, Thugs, and Harmony talked about wanting a rap Hall of Fame because it's different. The age-old question from square one. Tell me what you think in the comments. There, isn't that like, social media savvy kids asking for people to participate?
The following is a special presentation from 19 WOIO. Coming to you live from the North Coast Harbor, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is Rock on Cleveland.
The action is really picking up here in North Coast Harbor, the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Good evening, everyone. I'm Denise Dufala on the deck of the steamship William G. Mather.
And I'm Emmett Miller. Listen, as Cleveland gears up for the grand opening of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we're gearing up as well with our Rock on Cleveland live special report. And boy, do we have some surprises today.
We certainly do, Emmett. Our first surprise before we get started, I want to welcome our very special guest host tonight, American Journal's Nancy Glass. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Denise. I'm delighted to be back in Cleveland. You know, I used to live here, and I love it here.
And you used to work on the air here. What was that show?
Yes, I did. Come on. Now, I know you're going to put me on the spot. It was a music show. It was a disco show. I can't say the word. It was a disco show. I was 22 years old. The show was absolutely awful, but it was the greatest opportunity.
Come on, let's see it,
In such a wonder. No.
Let's see it. John Travolta for us.
Oh, thank you. Humiliate me.
No.
Humiliate me when I come back to
town.
town.
At that time, that was the big music.
It was great, and what a great opportunity. And you know what's so nice? This city is so beautiful. It's great to see that it got what it deserved.
That's right.
Which is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And we're celebrating all forms of music here.
That's right.
Well, this has been a pretty big day down at North Coast Harbor. We're seeing the beginning of the media flood.
Well, that's right, Denise. We understand that the Rock Hall of Fame people have fielded requests for credentials from over 1,000 different media outlets from around the world.
And Emmett's been watching the traffic on Key Plaza. Emmett?
And such traffic it is. The festivities are drawing nearer, and this place is really picking up. You can feel the energy out here as the cars stack up back and forth. Today at The Rock, the curators met with the writers from around the world. They talked about the collection, the first of several briefings that's planned for the next few days. And at the museum itself, if you're inside and you see some of the exhibits, you'll see a steady stream of reporters going back and forth. That's because today is their day. Only the reporters were allowed in there because it was media day. But our very own Christy Carlson was allowed in as well, and she got a sneak. I'm so jealous. Why couldn't I get this assignment?
You should be jealous, Emmett. It was great. I think the rock critic from the Toronto Star put it best. He said it's sort of like going into your grandmother's closet and finding all kinds of stuff, but instead of your grandmother's closet, it's like John Lennon's grandmother or Jim Morrison's grandmother, and it is fascinating.
It is so mind-boggling. It is so captivating.
Like going into your grandmother's attic or something and opening up a trunk and finding all this stuff.
The moment we'd all been waiting for arrived this morning, a chance to finally see the eclectic collection we've been hearing so much about for so long. From interactive audio exhibits and films to the original Sun Studio recording equipment used by the king himself, to Madonna's Blonde Ambition outfit, there's something to satisfy every taste. There are also more personal items we weren't allowed to videotape, like the report card of the notoriously bad student, John Lennon.
Terrible in math, like absolutely terrible. 3% on his exam in math. And in literature, they said that he's really good at language, but he won't apply himself. He knows a lot about books, and he knows a lot about art, but that's about it. If he only worked harder, he might actually amount to being mediocre type thing. It's, I mean, this is John Lennon, and he was completely written off by the educational establishment in Liverpool.
And you got to wonder what John Lennon's teachers are thinking now. There's all kinds of stuff like that, and just so interesting, things that you just never get a chance to see anywhere else.
Sure, true genius. And it really did express itself at many points during his career.
That's right, and there's that kind of memorabilia. You also see the guitar that he played at one of his concerts, one of his last concerts at Shea Stadium.
Wow.
Just original lyrics to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and a lot of other of their famous songs in their own handwriting.
Oh,
it's
that's
great.
terrific. Well, thank you very much, Kristen.
All right.
And as we all know, the museum itself and many of its exhibits are about the evolution of rock and roll, and many of these exhibits there deal with those who didn't make it past their prime, who may have died in their prime. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, John Bonham, people like that. And in their contribution to rock and roll, we really see what we call the dark side of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Perhaps the artist most mourned was guitar innovator Jimi Hendrix. He had a lust for life off stage that actually matched his wild performances. Hendrix died 2 months shy of his 28th birthday. Rock life in the fast lane. It was fueled by sex and drugs, and it took a lot of lives. But that never changed the fact that the image that's conjured up by a sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle happened to be an important marketing tool.
And puts the hate back in my heart. Will anybody give me what I want?
It's an image based in reality for many artists. The temptation is always there.
It's all cocaine and crazy cheerleaders.
Now, though, many current rock and rollers view the whole sex and drugs trip as a thing of the past.
I don't think it's anymore. I think that's kind of like, it's really kind of 70s thing, you know?
Too many lives cut short, much, much too soon. Denise, it's kind of interesting. It's sort of exemplary of the duality of rock and roll. At one point, you're trying to teach people to really enjoy themselves. And another point, it's about the pain that they were singing, and that is why we identify them so much with ourselves and what we're going through, Denise.
Right, a lot of that represented right there inside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the exhibits. Well, he is one of the most influential executives in rock music today. A rare interview with Rolling Stone's Jan Wenner in just a few minutes.
But first, listen to this as popular Cleveland DJ Matt the Cat spins his favorite tune.
Hi, this is Matt the Cat from WDOK. And one of my primal rock and roll memories, and there have been a few over the years, believe me, comes from 1964 when the Beatles landed in the state.
Town. And Best Buy. Some places are known for great music. Best Buy is one of them.
When I say that something.
Welcome back live from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. He's been a part of rock and roll for years, covering it as the editor and publisher of Rolling Stone magazine and chronicling it for future generations as a member of the New York Foundation for the Hall of Fame.
His name is Jan Wenner, and we talked with him about creating the museum and his hopes for the future.
The exhibits, the depth of those exhibits and the breadth of them is staggering. I mean, it's absolutely stunning collection of rock and roll stuff. I mean, incredible historical collection and amazing. It just has never existed anywhere in the world before. I mean, you think you've seen guitars, and then everybody has costumes there. It's the entire history of music and represented in real, tangible stuff and artifacts, and you run across things that, you know, touch upon various parts of your life or things. I mean, it's all like Goosebump City.
You know, I spoke to Dennis Berry and I asked him what he would like to see this this project become? And he says, I'd like to see it constantly changing. And he says the direction will be chosen as we go along. Obviously, by the energy, you can't focus the energy in one specific area when you have a medium like rock that's always changing.
I mean, I think there's certain fixed elements and aspects to it. They're, you know, they're permanent collections. It's also set up for, you know, evolution. I mean, it's a new idea, it's a new thing. We have just busted ass for the last year assembling collections. We haven't had a chance to catch our breath and look at it and say, well, what can we do with this place beyond this? There's many ways to examine the music in a live context. I mean, to bring in artists to the museum, to work at the museum, you know, creating, explaining, or teaching, you know, I mean, there's lots you can do. You could spend 2 years, you know, exploring, you know, Motown if you wanted to, you know, or the Beatles. And I think we put it in the right place, both in Cleveland, and I think Cleveland's the right place for it. I mean, look at, you know, the results.
Absolutely amazing. The man asking you questions in that interview, our very own Michael Shevsky. Mike joins us now live to tell us what went into designing those exhibits that we're going to get a chance to see this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you, Emmett, until today, very few people have seen some of the exhibits that are going to be behind the doors of this wonderful museum. But we spent some time with the designers of the 55 exhibits behind those doors, and we could show you tonight a sneak preview, if you will, of what you'll see after the grand opening. And it's a story that we had to go all the way to San Francisco to get.
It's not quite your father's Oldsmobile when you come inside. It is going to be different. The forms are more dynamic. The experience, I'm sure, is going to be.
Bruce Burdick plans to bombard every one of your senses. Susan Burdick says expect an explosion of light, shapes, and sound. Lots of sound.
People come in and they hear rock and roll and they see it the moment they walk into the space.
The Burdicks designed all the interiors, the video plaques, and many of the other interactive displays, including one that honors the people that brought the music to the masses.
This one's called Dedicated to the One I Love, which is a compilation of DJ air checks from different eras and different regions across the U.S. And it kind of documents the spread of radio stations starting in the East Coast and then ending up in the West Coast.
Across town, at Colossal Pictures, the film segments documenting the history of rock music came together.
These are films that don't go on for hours and hours or days and days, so you can't include everything that ends up being important. So you just make choices, and whatever works, works.
The staff spent most of this year getting ready for this weekend. Did they feel any pressure early on?
The pressure really first hit me was the first time I saw the building, the first time I was in Cleveland, and you know, and seeing what great progress the construction team was making, yeah, really put the pressure on.
Dozens of films chronicling the many directions of the most popular music in the world. And the world will come to Cleveland to see it. Now, all this week we have been promising you exclusives, and today, of course, is no different. Now, a lot of rumors are going around about who's in town right now, and we have learned that Bruce Springsteen and the entire E Street Band, with Nils Lofgren, that is, will arrive by private jet in Cleveland tomorrow to begin rehearsals. Also, there are film segments with John Lennon, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and many others, and you'll see those on the screen on HBO as they're switching the circular stage around at the stadium. We'll have a lot more information as the week goes on, but right now let's go back to Denise.
Good deal, Mike. What a concert that's going to be.
Absolutely.
All righty, thank you. Well, Elvis is, of course, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but not the... Rock and roll is, of course, in the spotlight, but this grand opening extravaganza is by no means the only exciting event in town this weekend.
Absolutely not. Right down the road at Burke Lakefront Airport, they are gearing up for the Cleveland National Air Show.
And Gretchen Carlson is there with some of the show's aerial performers. Gretchen?
Well, Denise, all week long, folks around town have been talking about what stars they might see this weekend when the Rock Hall opens. And I'll tell you, the most famous one I've heard about, people hope they're going to spot Elvis. Guess what? I happen to find a pair right here tonight. Yes, folks, these are the infamous E-Team skydiving Elvises. They are a new addition to the Cleveland Air Show this year. This is Paul McGowan and Ron Langendeffer. Hard name to pronounce. How you guys doing?
Fine, how are you?
Now, the one question that everyone wants to know is, why do you guys jump out of airplanes in Elvis costumes?
It's a lot of fun, and it's a privilege to wear the suit.
Okay, what do you think, Ron?
It's just another way to keep his memory alive.
All right, great. Well, these guys are obviously not the daredevil kind, or they are the kind of daredevil Elvises, but they're not the singers. Let's take a look at what they do.
You look like an angel. Look like an angel.
These suave guys know what it takes to look like Elvis, but I guarantee you, they do stunts the real Elvis never dreamed of. From 5,000 feet up in the air, they free fall from their planes, then parachute to the ground, all in Elvis garb. Behind them, a colorful trail of smoke, sometimes even the American flag.
You're the devil in the sky. Oh, yes, you are.
Yes, there's no doubt these guys are cool. Just look at all the fans that line up to shake their hands. Well, I'll tell you, talking about someone in disguise, I gotta tell you, this is something that I've always wanted to do, folks. Just be Elvis for just a few moments. Now, I'm not gonna be one of the guys falling out of the plane this weekend, but guess what? Emmett, if you wanna catch this show and those flying guys, you can come down here beginning Saturday. The show's gonna run Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Labor Day. Back to you.
Elvis, it's nice to finally speak to you. Can I tell you I love your work?
Thanks.
So, Jewel, got a costume like that?
No, I don't. But
Would you like one?
I may have to borrow that from Gretchen.
Exactly.
That looked great. I'll tell you, this weather this weekend is going to have everybody jumping, probably just for joy. Got a little bit of rain showers coming in tomorrow, but by the time we head into the weekend, things look fantastic. We have temperatures that are going to fall back to the 70s and then back up to the 80s by the end of the weekend. Just perfect weather here in Cleveland.
That's it's only a chance of rain.
Just a slight chance of rain tomorrow. About
So if we make
50-50.
it through, we're in the clear.
Totally.
Out of the woods, into the concert.
Everything you said.
That's where we want to be. Back to you, Denise.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, rock and roll started as rhythm and blues in the 50s, but now in the 90s, rock and roll is giving birth to other sounds.
Well, today in Cleveland, hip-hop music is flourishing. You'll see how the rest of the world is sitting up and taking notice when we return.
Look out, Cleveland. Storm is coming through. And it's running right up on you.
And welcome back to 19 News Live from the Rock Hall. Have you heard any rap music lately? If you have, then you know that Cleveland's making its bid to put rap on the map. That's right, one of our very own groups, Bones Thugs and Harmony, has made it to the top of the Billboard charts. These guys are actually really good if you take a listen to them. Rap and that kind of music here in this area, there is such a depth of talent here. Hip-hop is really coming of age.
What I can't wait for, though, is the Rap Hall of Fame. Because there's going to be one for us. Rock and roll at the time was a voice for that age. It had their message. You know what? Mom, you're not going to listen to me, that's fine. And they just play their music. Both forms are played loud. They both actually have culture. They're both off the same vibe. Just like rock and roll. Oh, it's not going to last. Oh, it's not. Now we got rap selling top billing like any other. Now we got rap selling top billing.
I bring the one and only Bone Thugs and Harmony.
When Bone finally came out and sparked a whole new style, they're like, oh wow, Cleveland does have somebody.
The graveyard ship.
The thing about Bone is rap is such an instrument for your expression, your personal expression. So you can only express best what you really are. So they are really Cleveland.
Bone set a good example of the talent that's here in Cleveland.
It's about time for us to come up. It's about time.
And maybe now more people realize that it's a lot of more talent in Cleveland than people really think it is, instead of all the talent being in New York, talent being in California.
And all the naysayers out there, it's actually kind of interesting to note that rock and roll spawned the hip-hop culture, and at this point, hip-hop is enduring the same kind of criticisms that rock once did. Denise.
Very interesting how over the years that can happen. Well, it's almost time to wrap up this edition of Rock on Cleveland from the steamship William G. Mather.
We'll be right back.
Rock on Cleveland is sponsored by your Northeast Ohio Ford dealers. Your Ford dealers are winning Ohio over. Best Cuts, we've got your style. Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. Galleria at Erie View, East 9th and St. Clair downtown. And Best Buy. Some places are known for great music. Best Buy is one of them.
Back live at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Sadly, it's time to close up shop. We appreciate your business today, but be sure and join us tomorrow, same time, same channel. Also Friday, ribbon cutting ceremony simulcast on 19 and 43. That all starts at noon. Denise.
Thanks, Emmett. And as we say goodnight tonight, I want to thank our special guest, Nancy Glass from American Journal. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Denise. I was delighted to be here.
Welcome back to Cleveland. Hope you come back again. For Emmett, Julie, and Mike, good night.